Yo, what's cracking, everybody? This is Raw and Uncut, back with another episode. We're coming with episode 7 today, but there's going to be a little twist on that. But first, I want to thank the little bit of folks that's watching. I want to thank the little bit of folks that's paying attention to what I'm doing here and that are digging the episodes. I appreciate that. I appreciate the messages. I appreciate the feedback. That's cool. And I'm glad you're watching. And just stay tuned because I'm going to be going and going and going in every day as much as I can, sometimes twice a day here pretty soon. Now, we're going to touch on a lot of things. I was going to touch this episode was going to be it was going to be like my first encounter with death, like in my life ever. But I realized that I didn't really want to go in that direction. I don't really want to go into that type of energy right now. I'm not really in that place. And when I start telling those type of stories, like I was telling a little bit about, my mom and stuff like that, it take a lot out of me. So I want to lighten it up a little bit, just a little bit, and not really talk about that. We're going to switch it up. And I really wanted to talk about like what's going on in terms of the border stuff. Now, out here where we're at, we're 2 hours from the border. We're 2 hours north of the southern border of Arizona and Mexico, Mexico and the United States. So this border out here, there's tons of people that have been crossing, and I'm driving through Phoenix, and I've been driving around for 3 years, but I notice a lot of different things. I know what the culture looks like on this side, that side, everywhere. I kind of see a lot when you're driving. When you put in more than 40,000 miles, 50,000 miles, what I mean, a year just doing Uber and Lyft, you get very, very familiar with the area really, really quick in every parts and every little crack, nook, cranny, all that. And then, just you see a lot of stuff. So what I've been noticing, what I've been seeing is that there's been a heightened presence of certain types of folks walking the streets. They all got black backpacks. They're all males, 25 to 35, maybe 40 years old. None of them are fat. They're always fit. Some of them muscular, some of them like basketball or soccer player style bodies and stuff like that. And like you see a lot of the stuff you see on the news, right? And on CNN and people like even my brother Ruben tells me, man, I don't even know what to believe anymore. Like if it's CNN, it's fake and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of that stuff. I'm like, what I try to do is trust my own eyes and trust the people of where you're getting the information from, and then you do some research on it, and then you can find out if it's real or not. But when you are experiencing it and you're seeing it with your own eyes, walking through the city of Phoenix in all parts, north, east, west, south, and it's pretty big out here. You know what I'm saying? When you see that and you are seeing what's taking place, we are literally being invaded. And I don't know if you can see it where you're from, but us cities and towns that are closer to the border, we're seeing a lot of shit. Like there's a lot of movement going on. And you can see it, but the cops, they got other stuff to worry about. There's shootings every night. There's so many the drivers out here are crazy. They drive just it's crazy. And they say it's because all the crazy drivers have come from everywhere else and they've all come to Arizona. That's the reason why the driving is so bad out here. But hell no, it's just I don't know what it is. People don't know how to drive in the rain. They drive fast, but yeah. So I see a lot of stuff, and I'm just like, before you'd see women with men, or sometimes you see a family. Like when I first came out here, there was a family sleeping on the side of a subway off of 43rd Avenue and McDowell Avenue. And the weather was kind of not hot yet, but it was like in the 80s in the day, and it's like 60s at night. Kind of like maybe right now, but it's real colder here right now. And I seen a family like a husband, wife, and two kids, probably about 10 and 13, a little boy and girl. And I asked them if they needed anything, and they were like, no, they were okay. They were waiting for family to pick them up. And I was like, oh, okay, they must have just crossed. Like that's normal. But when you're seeing Chinese and you're seeing like, Iraqis or Iranians, and we're different, not the folks that, what I'm saying, I'm not trying to be uh I'm not trying to just put it on one demographic of people or one culture of what I'm seeing though. But I'm seeing a lot of Chinese folks out here. As far as like Mexican folks and stuff like that, I imagine they're not out there like that though. They got places to go, they got family, they usually got a plan of where they're going. But these people seem to just be hanging around and kind of just frequenting certain areas, almost like they're watching everything, almost like they're peeping everything out, and they're getting what do they call that? Like getting a good look, bullseye, good look at a steak, so to speak. And I see certain types of individuals at same corners, same spots, and they're just posted up there. You see a lot of it since I came here. You see a lot of people that are doing drugs, right? And it becomes commonplace when you see groups of people at a bus stop. You don't even look because you're like, oh, it's just a bunch of people doing drugs and shit like that. Because that's what you see out here. It's just mobs and mobs and mobs. Well, I just noticed it feels like we're being invaded, right? And I know that's weird when people say that, but when I see certain things like that I ain't seen ever before, something inside me is like, bro, like, you paying attention to this? Like, do you know what you're seeing right now? At first you try to like play it down. You're like, nah, it ain't nothing. It's just some normal shit, regular shit. But then when you start really paying attention and you start looking, it's right in our face. And a lot of people see it, but there's a lot of people that still don't. And they don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, why these people are here. The folks that have come here looking for freedom and looking for the American dream and looking for a place to work and support their family and do stuff like that and just achieve greatness and be able to live their life. Hey, yeah, that's what America is about, right? But to the ones that are coming over here and they're waving their flags and they're like mad, they don't want to be here, like they're cussing Americans out and they're being aggressive toward Americans. Like, why are we allowing that in here? And why are we allowing that? And that's coming from a man whose point of view is coming a Mexican Native American. And that's my point of view is like, yeah, hey man, if people want to come to this country and just earn an honest living and have a chance at life, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody deserves that. But if folks gonna come in here and they don't like the people here and they don't like the police officers, they don't like come on. Come on, like why are we doing that? Why are we allowing that? And then they ask questions and the dude is trying to throw it off on other people. And then to me, I don't give a fuck about Republicans or Democrats or any of that. Like I'm talking to straight American people. I'm talking to everyday folks here. Like you need to understand what's cracking. Like I see it right here. And if you're further away from the border, you're probably not seeing it as fast and as much, but you're gonna start seeing it more and more and more if you ain't seen it yet. There's groups of people walking around. They're homeless, but they don't look like homeless people. They don't look like they're sick. They don't look like they're dying. They don't look like they can't work. And you're just like, wait a minute. Dude just looks dingy, like he's had to like new clothes on for like maybe about a week. You know what I'm saying? And I notice stuff like that in different parking lots in different areas of the city. And it's big out here. There's a lot of people, a lot of area to cover. And I see it everywhere. And it's just kind of weird because, you know, what I'm saying might be looked at that someone might try to twist it and think that I'm saying that I'm racist and I don't want people here from these certain countries. And no, dude, my family, a lot of my family came from outside of the US. There's nothing, no, not at all. Like I said, to folks, and I'm sure even immigrants feel this way. I don't think immigrants want that shit here either. That's what they're getting away from. I don't think folks from Cuba or folks from Iran or any other place that come here, Pakistan and stuff like that, which I got Pakistani friends and stuff like that, most humble people. Those type of folks that come in peace and just want to live and want to have opportunity to grow, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But to the other folks that coming from everywhere else and they're just coming to destroy, they ain't built nothing here. So they don't give a shit about nothing here. To them, it don't mean anything. And where they come from is a straight up fucking war zone. We got a lot of shit going on out here. We got gangs and drugs and all this, but ain't shit blowing up every other few seconds on this block and that ain't happening out here. We ain't living that kind of life. A lot of these guys have and already and are, and then they are getting injected into over here. A lot of these dudes are mercenaries, trade killers. But you don't want to hear that, and they ain't gonna tell you that. But I'm saying it, and YouTube probably ain't gonna want it. But see, this is what we're doing here. We're always gonna keep it a buck, and I'm just gonna tell you what I see and what I feel. And in my lifetime, I've always gone with what I feel and what I see. And when I go with that, I can't lose. And so I know there's a lot of folks already on their toes. This to me is just a call, a message out to every American that's watching this. It's not to scare you. It's not to make you be like, oh man, no, no, it's the end of the world. No, no, no. It's so you can open your eyes if you ain't opened them yet and you can pay attention to what's going on and just watch around the area. Watch where you're at. You know what I mean? You never know. Some shady shit might be going on. You never know. Everywhere I go, I'm watching around me. I'm paying attention. I'm very aware of my surroundings. If I'm going to a Walmart or I'm going into a Target or something like that, I rarely take my son with me, and there's a reason for that. People are like, "Oh, you can't live in fear." No, it's not about living in fear. It's about being smart. Because if I got my family with me at a Target when I could have just went to get what we need to get, you know what I'm saying? And if somebody does run up into a Target and they start shooting the place up, what good am I with my family if I have a piece on me and I can try to stop this guy as a citizen and doing the right thing and stopping, some psycho that's trying to light up some people for whatever crazy reason they got in their head. Um, what good am I with that pistol if I got my family there? Now I'm worried about taking care of my family, and I can't be 100% focused on what's going on here and trying to stop this. Because if you're walking around with a piece and you ain't ready for some action like that, I don't even know why the fuck you're carrying it. I understand street politics and street funk and all that. That's another story. This is on a whole nother level. Them folks in the street, you got to get right with each other all the way across. And I know there's been a lot of stuff getting right in California and stuff like that, and that's good. But there's still some bumpy stuff going on. But we all just need to get right with each other because when it's coming down to it, ain't and it's been like this for years. And guys like me have always talked like this. Um, it ain't never been about black and white or even richer and poor. It's your DNA. It's whatever blood you got running through your veins. It's whatever blood you got running through your veins. They know it. They know who you are. You know what I'm saying? They know who you are. And you just have to be smart and you have to move very, very calculated and very intelligently. And you have to pay attention to your surroundings at all times. Women, pay attention to your surroundings at all times. Kids, men, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? People need to be on their P's and Q's because nobody wants their family members to get hurt. And if things pop off out in the open in a mall or a gas station or a Walmart or whatever, you want to be able to exercise your right as an American and defend, the good and stop whatever bad things or people are trying to do and see whatever situations might arise. And that's the reason why you carry. If you're carrying out here, you should be aware of stuff like that. That's most of us, I think, are. Most of us have that vigilante, what I'm saying, kind of outlook on things. We don't go act on it per se, but something cracks off and happens, we're not going to shy away from it. We're going to run to it. We're not going to run from it. So that's my thing. Like, I mean, episode 7 was supposed to be my first encounter with death, but I didn't want to go in that direction. So we're kind of just bouncing around right now. Episode 7, we're talking about that border situation, what I've seen down there in Phoenix and in Arizona area, period. There's just a lot going on. There's a presence of other things going on that I can't even really say out here because, I'm not, but it's just crazy. But, what I'm saying, almost as crazy as the weather. The weather's a real trip. Seeing there's all kind of mudslides and there's avalanches out in California and the flooding and the raining. It's just crazy. It's crazy. And people, talk about, oh, well, it's the climate and it's the climate, it's the climate. And that could be true. And people think that we got to stop driving this and driving that. And because if we don't, it's going to make all this get even more and more crazy. I got news for you guys, folks. It don't matter what we do. The world is so big. It goes through changes on its own every few thousand years. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing that we control about it. To sit back and think that we got control of anything that happens here in the world on a major scale, we don't got control of shit. The world does that. The world has control of itself. If it wants to turn on its own one day and turn upside down or turn sideways or fall off of it, do a pole shift, from a 90-degree angle to all that, a 90-degree angle to a 180 and then back to a 90-degree angle, and everything just goes topsy-turvy, and the oceans flood the shores of the land and everything and all that, it'll happen. Whatever the earth wants to do, it's going to do when when it's ready to do it. And there's no explanation other than it does whatever it wants to do. It cleanses itself every so many years, right? But there's people out there that believe that if we stop with aerosol cans and we stop with certain types of pipes on our cars, and if we don't use headers, and if we don't smoke, and if we don't do this, that we're going to help the climate. There's I got news for you. There's other countries like China and other places that use up so much shit up in the air worse than we do. They put so much shit up into the atmosphere. There's nothing, even if we did stop all this and that and we cut down like by 95%, it wouldn't even put a dent in it by 0.2% because the other countries are going at full throttle, full speed, burning coal, burning everything. They're just using up their resources. They're not caring about the climate because they know what the fucking climate really is, and we can't control it no matter what we do. So I just see some crazy ass weather, and I really think that there's reasons like, the weather makers they got, and the way that they make it rain. If you notice, right before some rain's supposed to come or something, they start spraying shit in the sky now. Spray it, and it spreads out, and it gets all gloomy. And before you know it, an hour or two, whatever it is, 3 hours later, 4 hours later, it's raining. And it's raining like sometimes like I ain't never seen this shit. I get it. Granted, I'm in the desert now, but this shit is fucking crazy. And then now I'm seeing the same type of shit up in California. It's fucking crazy. It's just Mother Earth doing what it does, cleansing itself little by little. And you know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. But yeah, man. And as far as Joe Byron, our piece of shit of the United States, uh, I don't know, man. Can it get any more embarrassing than what he's? Every time that dude gets behind the mic, it gets worse. It gets worse. You can't believe how much more worse it gets every time the dude opens his mouth to say something. And you're like, wow, this guy's really supposed to be our president of the United States. To me, I believe that this is the powers that be, the real bosses behind the scenes, let's say. It's the way that they put that out for the rest of the world to let everybody know, like, look, we control this shit, and we're making fun of you by making you believe that this is the guy that's leading your country. Basically, he's the president of the United States used to be like the head coach of the fucking football team. Usually, a really good football team takes on the image of their coach, right, or their head coach. It's the same thing with how they look at it in politics, and all the way this shit. Like Joe Byron looks so weak. He looks so crazy, so incompetent. It What does that say about the rest of us? How they look at us? How we're being looked at by the rest of the world right now? I know some people will be like, it doesn't matter what the fuck they're looking at us. We're this. Yes, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about what's happening along with the feminization of young men and the masculinization of young women. Think about, am I the only one that sees this? They want to make the woman stronger than the man, and they want to make the man just weak as he's ever been. And it's crazy. You look at other countries like China and Russia, and they're still pushing masculinity on their young boys, and they're pushing femininity on their young women. But this country is not doing that anymore. So I know that's not going to be popular, and a lot of folks might not like that. And I'm not judging anyone. Whatever people choose to do, that's fine with me. What I'm saying is the powers that be, they've created all this, most of this. They've created this direction, this path where we're headed, and it's purposely made to weaken the American man, to demasculinize the American man. Because if you demasculinize the young American man that's coming up, the next generation, if they all become feminine, most of them, who's going to protect this country in war? Really, let's be honest with it. Who's going to be there to protect this country? We'll have a lot of women there, but they're going to be dealing with trained men if that's the case. So that's the whole plan. And that's just the way I see it. And I don't mean to get too deep for people, but we're going to have to drink to that one. Michelada, really good one. And so, yeah, tonight, episode 7, we're just kind of bouncing around, kind of giving my opinions, and maybe I'll tell a random story real quick. I guess you know what? I could tell a random story real quick. We're gonna tell about we're gonna call this random story real quick, short story. I'm gonna call it "What's the Deal?" What's the deal? What's the fucking deal? What's the deal, baby boy? All right. What's the deal? No, your boy's not spun out. I don't do hard drugs. Maybe smoke a little bit of tweeds and drink me a beer every now and then. I don't drink like I used to. I just enjoy myself and I just be myself. And I'm just going to give it to you raw and uncut. That's what we're doing here. Now, there's a short story called What's the Deal? What's the motherfucking deal? And this deal, this story about this supposed deal, let's just start it right here. Me and my cousin Alfred, uh, sorry I used your name, Ferg, but me and my cousin Ferg, we was walking to the dope spot that we had on Lewis Street. It's probably 95, maybe 94, 95. And I think I just got my car taken away maybe a day before that or 2 days before that. It might have been after that, but me and Ferg were walking up. It was before that because we were walking, and me and Ferg never were walking, but we were walking out because they took my cutlass from me. And so me and Ferg go walking up in the spot, and it's my two brothers and the homeboy Herm there, and my brothers are the ones holding everything. They're running the house at the time because I'm not there. My brother-in-law had just left to Mexico, and all that was going on, right? So um, we're walking up in there. Everybody's usually smoking cav dogs, which is caviar, or Grimmy. There's different names for it. People make it different, but it was caviar. It was cav dogs, and they called it caviar because it was like a joint of weed, and they smashed up dope, crack, smash up like a dime, or even back in those days they smash up like a nickel, and they throw it over the bud in the joint, and then roll it up together, and then they would smoke it, and it takes you up and takes you down, right? And I've seen so motherfuckers, slanging dope, and they're getting high now. My brother's the homie and stuff, and I think it's the first time I decided to start fucking with it because I did for a little bit here and there, getting high, and it's just it's just something you had to do, and it was like try it, whatever. Everybody's doing it, but it was called cavi. They called it caviar, and so we're walking up in the house, and me and Ferd, I'm going there to make some money, and we're gonna hang out with my brothers and the homie, whatever's going on there, is serving. There's people in and out of that fucking house, dope heads everywhere, in and out. Always a bunch of wild shit going on there. And we walk up in there, and the lights are all out. We're going through. We go to the second room, open the door, and I think if I remember the story correctly, we walk up in there, and we're like, man, where's Ruben? Where's T at? Where's everybody at? And and Herm's laughing. And Herm's like, "Hey, dog, your brother's over there in the back, dog." And I'm like, well, "What the fuck?" So I walk in, and it's old school Victorian homes where it's got the bathroom in between two bedrooms. So you got to enter either from either side of this bedroom or this bedroom. They don't have an outside door. They're old Victorian homes, right? Those who've been in Victorian homes, the old school bathrooms that just got entrance from different rooms. They don't got like a hallway entrance or nothing like that. So I go into the room, and I go up to the door, and I'm like, "Rube, what's up? Rube." Because at first, like, what the fuck's going on? And all I hear is, "What's the deal? What's the deal? What's the fucking deal?" And we're looking at the door like, "What the fuck? What you been talking about? What's the deal? What's the fucking deal?" And I'm like, "Rube, you all right, fool? What the fuck?" And Austin opened the door. Open the door. There's some chick, some black chick on her knees. She's going to town, and my bro's just looking around, going, "What's the deal? What's the fucking deal?" And what are you talking about? Me and Ferd were dying. Like, why is this fool saying that? We didn't know they were K'd out. They smoked a stick of KJ, angel dust, whatever you want to call it. We used to call it KJ. K. I never liked that shit. I never did it, but I didn't know they had did that. Herm was a little bit lit. I didn't know where Tortoise was, and Ruben's in the damn bathroom. And I guess we found out, we didn't know why he's screaming, "What's the deal?" Because as soon as now that I remember, as soon as we got into the living room, we could hear him screaming, "What's the deal?" And that's why we went over there, because Herm was like, his brother's over there in the restroom, and he was laughing and laughing. And so when we go in there and he's screaming, "What's the deal? What's the fucking deal?" Like, what are you talking about for? He's like, "T, where's T at? Is she gonna suck everybody up or what the fuck? Just me and her." I'm like, oh my God. We start fucking dying. And I'm like, what? We could see that there's something wrong. My brother's not, we smoked some fucking K. I'm like, oh, fuck. This is, this mid 90s. Both of my brothers they've been clean for more than 15 years. I hope they don't get mad at me for telling that story. But that was what's the deal. And to this day, me and my cousin Ferd, whenever we don't see each other very often, but whenever we do see each other, that story is told. And there's a few stories told. But that one, he'll remember a little bit more than I remember. And then my other brother, he probably don't remember very much because they were pretty fucked up on that K. But it's just stupid shit you did back in the days, back in those days. And I remember a kid. There was a family of, I don't know how else to say it, but there was a family of crackheads. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. That's very fucking rude and very insensitive of me to just call because the guy was a crackhead and the son was a crackhead and the uncle was a crackhead. I'm sorry. God damn. I'm sorry. God, forgive me, people. I didn't mean to be overly fucking rude about that, but it was a family of crackheads that lived there, and there was a little youngster that was about a year or two, three younger than like T and Thavo and them, the homies. And when we were, we were slanging and we would get high in there. We smoke fucking some cavies and had a little period where motherfuckers were a little sprung on it for a couple of months, whatever. But then you like making money, you know what I'm saying? So you get away from it. I don't like, losing all my money up in there, smoking cab dogs and shit. So you bounce out of that. But at the time when we were smoking, we would leave. We would just do 6 to 6. That was the rule. That was the new spot from where Juan was trying to get a spot before the feds came looking for him. And he had a spot, which was my mom's old house on Lewis Street. And he paid for my mom to go to another apartment. This is the second time. Years later, right after he came back, he paid for my mom to go to another apartment. And he kept the house that she was renting on Lewis. He paid the rent there because he said that was a good spot because people could drive up through the back because it had the alley entrance had no gate. You could just drive up straight into the backyard. It was a big ass backyard, and it was right there in the hood. So, yeah, we were running that spot there, and we would just go. My mom's apartment was 3 blocks down on Webster, just right there by the tracks. There was like 2 apartments. It was like a duplex, and her new apartment was in the back. So we would walk from there at 6 a.m., head to the house, and 6 p.m. go back, and at 6 a.m. like that. When we would leave at 6 a.m., that family was staying in the room. We let them stay in one of the rooms, and the other dude, Randy, that was like a smoked out Hulk Hogan. A smoked out Hulk Hogan. His name was Junior. He was a big white dude, about 6'3", 260, beer gut, like a big old school cowboy. That motherfucker walked around in boxers and no shirt, no shoes, no socks, no nothing. Summertime, crackhead, smoking like a motherfucker. That dude, he was the one that we would leave there to watch the house. He had his room, the other room. Well, when we would leave for the night, there would be like 20, 30 caviar roaches. Everybody be all fucking chipping, smoked out, fucking all just chilling and shit, getting all fucked up, doing stupid shit. We're making money and getting high. It's like whatever. and there'd be these roaches, about 20, 25 of them put on the fireplace left. So my brothers, when they came back, them and Herman, they'd be looking for those roaches to roll to start their, hey, this is what we're gonna roll first, and then we'll smoke some. That was their thing. Well, that youngster that came to stay with his dad, the crackhead family staying in the room right there. There's a youngster there that had came to stay with his dad. It was his dad living there. He's like a little bit younger than us, but he thinks he's from the hood, but he's not. He's from like way up there somewhere, but he wasn't from the east side or nothing like that. But he thought he was. And he was a little wannabe or whatever. And none of the homies liked them. Nobody liked them. People were just looking for reasons to beat him up, but didn't want to because I didn't want problems in the fucking spot because I know the dad was gonna get mad and all that because the dad was smoking dope there too, whatever. But I just remember us going back the next morning and all those roaches that were left on the fireplace were gone. And Herm comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, that little punk motherfucker smoked all our roaches, dog." And I was like, I really didn't give a fuck, but that's Herm, it's the principle. Don't be smoking my roaches, right? And don't be smoking my caviar roaches, man. It's what I need to get something up in the morning. It was one of those fucking type of deals, I guess. But check it out. The dude was fucking Herm dog was mad because the motherfucker he smoked all our roaches, dog. He told my brother T, Ruben, everybody's mad. Herm Thabel's pissed, everybody. So now the plan is that when he comes out, when we start blowing calf dogs, and him and his dog come out to try to hit it, him and his dad, because his dad would open the door because we're right there blowing in the living room and the door's right there. And he would open the door and be like, "Can I get a hit?" And we'll just let him hit it or whatever. So we'd start blowing because when we start blowing, we'd light 2 or 3 fat ones and just start passing them around. And we're going. That motherfucker, he opened the door. And the plan was that when he opened the door and his son came out for the bounty, they would put a $20 rock bounty on that fool's head, on that kid's head. Hey, all right, the homies are like, "All right, dog, that fool smoked the cat, dog. So, what do you guys want to do?" I said, "First one to light him up gets a 20." First one, my brother told us like, "Yeah, whoever lights him up, I'll give him 20." It can't be us because we don't want that fool thinking we did it. We want it to look like someone else did it, and we'll just be like, "Hey, that ain't cool, whatever." Right? It didn't turn out that way because obviously motherfuckers couldn't fake. So dude came out, he sat in the chair, the joint came around, he hit it, then he went to pass it to his son. His son, the homie Thabo had got up. Thabo was sitting next to me. He was next in the rotation. Thabo got up to go to the kitchen real quick. When he got up, that dude's son just sat in his chair, didn't say nothing. Sat in his chair. So when I went to pass the joint, he grabbed it. And Thabo was walking back. And Thabo walks up to him as he got the joint. He's hitting it. And Thabo's like, "Hey, fool, who told you can get in my seat?" And it's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm looking at it here. Everybody knows it's about to happen, right? Because already had a reason." And he's like, "Oh, well, you got up and you got up. It's free for all, right?" Or something like that. The seats open or some shit like that. And Thabo just hit that motherfucker. Wow. Hit him. His head bounced off the motherfucker. Oh, he started screaming like a bitch. And his dad hopped up. "Hey, Obi, hit my motherfucking son, motherfucker." Blah, blah, blah. Everybody loped up. My brothers pulled guns on those motherfuckers. Other crackheads that were in the room with them, that were his friends, came out like grown men trying to fucking throw down and they're looking all crazy. "Hey, what's up, motherfucker?" My brothers pulled guns on him, man. We're standing there. It was about to be a big old fucking mess in that motherfucker. The crackheads were trying to rise up against the drug dealers and the ones running the house, running the pad. The crackheads were trying to rise up and overthrow the fucking drug dealers. They were trying to get it in. I swear to God, dude was mad because his son just got fucking socked up. And everybody's at fucking odds right there. We're all on one side of the fucking living room. They're on the other side. My brother's got both of their guns drawn on them. That's the only reason why those big fucking men didn't fucking budge. We were kids. We were all kids. We were all teenagers. I think I was 17, 16 at the time, maybe 18, 17, 17, something like that. But yeah, man, that's before you know it, they all calmed down, gave his dad a little fucking nickel. That fool in the backyard got his little fucking bullshit pipe, hit it, came back. He was smiling. He didn't give a fuck that his son got socked up anymore. He was too busy trying to get high. A few minutes after that, he's asking if he could front a 20. He's got some money coming in the morning. He's gonna go pick it up from Pinedale or whatever. And I'm like, all right, I front him a 20. And yeah, that was, he came back, paid me. He didn't give a fuck. His son was all knotted up, fucking bruised up and shit. Never sat there to smoke with us anymore. Never touched the roaches anymore. That motherfucker stayed off of that shit. He left them alone. He thought because he smoked them up a couple different times, and that's why they got on him. That's why I guess he had done it already before. So yeah, that was what's the deal? And Ferd, if you remember anything I left out, leave it in the comments, bro. Let me know. But man, I'm glad I was here just to be able to chop it up with you guys for a little bit, to be able to just get some stuff off my chest and kind of do my therapy here, because that's kind of what it is for me. I'm kind of talking. I guess I'm talking to myself, but I'm not talking to myself because people are watching, and it don't matter if it's one person. It don't matter if it's a million people. As long as somebody's watching and it's making a difference, and people are digging what I'm doing, then that's what I'm gonna keep doing. And I want everybody to continue to keep tuning in and paying attention. And I appreciate the love, and I appreciate the respect, and I appreciate the time that you're taking to watch. This has been Raw and Uncut, episode 7. We kind of went all over the place, so that's what I'm just going to call this, all over the place. It's not really what I was going to talk about, but we still went in anyways, and we're going to keep going. And tomorrow I might drop 2 videos. So be on the lookout for episode 8 and 9. Those will be a bit of a roller coaster. It's going to be some really, really good stuff. We're going to get into it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good night. Have a good one.